Now that Apple Intelligence is out, you're gonna see a lot of feature by feature demos talking about all the things that Apple Intelligence lets you do from all the usual suspects. So instead of giving you more of the same, today I wanna give you a bigger picture discussion on Apple and artificial intelligence and really have an honest discussion about how exciting or not Apple Intelligence is with this initial rollout. Before we get into it, if you're new around here, I have a productivity course, a course on Apple's Freeform that'll help you go way beyond the basics, along with a few other interesting courses, including a course on AI, where we discuss the future of AI, how you can be as prepared as possible for all the disruptions and opportunities that actually AI is going to be creating over the next decade or two. So check those out. They're linked up down below. Now, already I know certain people are gearing up to defend Apple at all costs. They don't like the sound of this. But look, if we can't have a frank discussion as Apple users about how we feel Apple's doing with their products, then how can we expect things to improve or become the best version of whatever they can be? I want to start by saying that I think Apple Intelligence is going to be very useful. It already has been for me during the beta period that I've been testing. At the same time, I just don't think people are going to feel like it's very groundbreaking. Now, feeling groundbreaking, being groundbreaking, those are different things. But let's start with the good here. Imagine a world where you're an Apple user and all these interesting AI tools are popping up and Apple isn't getting into AI. That would feel kind of like Apple was providing us with a window, their devices, to look into the AI landscape without actually being part of the view. So things like the Siri overhaul with this new interface and better natural language processing and context continuity, along with the new writing tools that are baked in anywhere you can type, along with notification summaries. These are all things from the initial Apple Intelligence rollout that I think everybody's going to find useful. The thing that Apple can do that no other AI app developer can do for Apple users is bake AI in at the system level and in a way that knows more about users, in a way that's more private. That could all be a very huge advantage. Okay, but more conversational AI and transcriptions and summaries and priority notifications. At this point in late 2024, I think a lot of this stuff is going to feel very par for the course for even your average everyday user. None of this stuff feels mind-blowing or envelope pushing. People are very used to generative AI at the moment. So while Apple does have things that let you generate images, for instance, Apple's never going to compete in the photorealistic image generation arena like Midjourney. They're never going to compete in the photorealistic video generation arena like Runway. They're never going to compete in the realistic synthetic voice generation space like 11 Labs. I think it's safe to say in the near to medium term future, none of that level of creative firepower is going to land at the system level with privacy and all the other things that Apple can bring to the table, personalization, etc., which I think would be great for people who aren't considered your average or normal or typical creatives like artists, photographers, videographers, etc. You know, that's like the old school way of creating art, and that was a type of art, and now this generative stuff is coming and it's a different kind of art. They don't replace each other, but there is this new realm. But I think Apple is very focused on quote unquote safety in these generative tools. So they're going to give you these kind of cartoony, more playful looking tools that might be good for communicating something in messaging or possibly in a presentation, but not really for hardcore creativity. Creativity doesn't now and hasn't ever thrived under conformist consensus conditions where you can only create what somebody who makes the tool wants you to create or thinks is safe. So on one hand, I think we can all understand why Apple in particular is taking the approach that it is. That said, I think most of the excitement around Apple Intelligence at launch here is probably coming from Apple. I think really tech-savvy people, power users for sure, who are deep into the AI space are probably pretty underwhelmed with this. Why? Again, we're very familiar with tools like ChatGPT that let us do things like write and rewrite things and have conversations with AI in an intelligent way without getting frustrated and generate images in a less nerfy environment. I think for certain users, those that don't just have some technology laying around, but they're very tech savvy, they like to be on the cutting edge, they're deep into what AI is allowing even right now, that they're going to be a little bit disappointed with Apple Intelligence because they look at Apple and they're like, here's this company with this huge war chest, and we got these sort of very par for the course, very familiar feeling, useful but familiar new features. And to be fair, in the marketing, Apple's positioning this as AI for the rest of us. So I think they're trying to set clear expectations here. Like maybe you shouldn't be super wowed and impressed by this if you're a tech savvy power user sort of person. But at the same time, I think there are a lot of people who were wanting a substantial leap from Apple. And I want you to think back when Apple bought Siri, if you're old enough to remember back in the day, that felt like a huge, substantial, brand new, big thing. It wasn't that it was just useful. It was useful when they bought Siri, but no one else was doing it. It was brand new. And here with this, they're bringing something to market that is, you know, kind of either just catching up or even lagging behind in several ways. So I want to be fair here. Apple Intelligence features are going to be useful to an extent. There is some behind the scenes technicalities that are truly impressive. But what Apple Intelligence is not, so far at least, is a one more thing sort of huge mic drop feature. And I know that I just said Apple isn't promoting it like that. It's AI for the rest of us, but they're making a huge deal out of it as if it was a one more thing sort of thing. I think that's where some of that disconnect sort of comes from. I would love to know your thoughts on this. The future has AI baked in everywhere. And this isn't about whether AI is good or bad, and there's a lot of different topics we could cover related to that. But as Apple Intelligence stands right now, with the launch, now that you can get your hands on it, what do you think? Are you excited? Are you not excited? Are you glad that it's here? Do you wish that it was more? Let's have a good discussion about this. Maybe we'll do a follow-up if you guys can enlighten me on some interesting new perspectives or things that I haven't considered. I'll try to collect everything together and we'll kind of keep this conversation going. People have been asking me about this 5-screen desk setup in the back here, the Apple Orchard, so to speak. I've got a video dropping soon on that, so get subscribed if you want to check that out. Check out the wallpapers, check out the courses. Got some great courses. If you're new around here, I'll teach you how to be productive, save a bunch of time in the Apple ecosystem, and with way less burnout. That's linked up down below too. It's called Learn to Be Productive. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.